Martin, ladies and laddies, I'm going over the Nintendo E3 and E3s in general, but mostly the Nintendo one, where I say my thoughts and opinions on the games that come out and general things that I noticed. But there's not gonna be any, engaging insight to this. It's just gonna be pretty, I like this, I don't like this, instead of, so you see in this weird frame that there is this appearance on Link's arm, and it's not normal. No, not me. I'm also not going to go over every game. I'm just going to go over the games that are either really big and the showstoppers, or ones that I can actually talk about, because quite frankly, I don't want to spend a lot of time gathering footage to just say, I don't care about Doom. So with that, E3 2021. So Kazuya is the new character in Smash Brothers as DLC number 10, I think, 10 or 11. He's in the second DLC pack. And I'm impressed with Nintendo for this, because I had the most neutral reaction to this man being in the game. I didn't even think that was possible. It's way easier to find a character that you have so much energy for and you are hyped up, oh my gosh, this is the best thing Nintendo's ever done, or, the characters that you absolutely dread being in the game, you spend all your energy being like, oh, why this guy, why this guy, they put a character in that I don't care, I didn't even consider this man, but, dang. But yeah, the trailer was absolutely fantastic for that, the way that Kazuya just tossed those characters in, it just made me think of Zelda Breath of the Wild, where Link is just tossing in the ingredients. And that is absolutely fantastic. And the Kirby scene at the end, yeah, you can't kill Kirby. I didn't take a close look at his movesets, because quite frankly, when I play Smash Brothers, I button mash. That's really it. And I only really play with friends. So I don't even have the DLC pack, and I'm probably not going to get it until I'm, at the end of the Switch life cycle, or, the Switch is about to lose the access to the eShop, so I'd have to buy the DLC or never get it again. Super Monkey Ball Bananamania. I don't know why I'm so excited for this. I know we have Monkey Ball Banana Blitz, but I think it came out on the Switch during, a time where I was on a gaming hiatus. So it's it's not hitting as hard as knowing, okay, that exists, as opposed to, okay, there's this Monkey Ball game that is coming out. As a kid, I played Monkey Ball on the Game Boy Advance, and the normal tracks were fine or whatever, but I liked the little side mini games. I really liked golfing in particular, and I liked the one boxing game. Those were the most fun to me. And just watching the trailer where, you're playing soccer. That looks really cool. I'm really interested in that. So, I'm definitely gonna get this game in my collection at some point. Mario Party Superstars. This is my biggest hype moment in all the E3. Even though I was most anticipating, Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 stuff, this really is my biggest moment. I love Mario Party. My next video is going to be about Mario Party. I'm playing Mario Party by myself. I love Mario Party that much. And I was talking about, I want a new Mario Party game to my family or whatever. We were just kind of talking about it. That I was, I mentioned that, E3's coming up, and, that's something I wanted to see. And I don't remember if it was my dad or my brother. They were both around. But I think it was my brother. My brother was and he was oh, do you want another Mario Party? The same old thing? And I was like, no, I wish they were the same old thing. I hate how Mario Party removed, it's the same old complaints everyone has. They don't like the linear boards, they don't like this weird car mechanic, and, Super Mario Party Switch is fine, but, I wish they would just, have, okay, whatever weird thing that they want to do, these weird new mechanics, sure, put that in, but have, a default mode. It's not that hard to have a couple of rule sets in there. I think other party games can do this just fine. You have, classic mode, and then you have, experimental mode that won't show up because no one likes it. Just keep the formula. And you know what? I got it. I got the old thing. We're getting the N64 games, and I think it's N64, but they mentioned like older ones in general, where we're gonna have the same boards, same rules, and like mini games and stuff. Like, we're not gonna have this weird Joy-Con shaking simulator for the Mario Party games. We're gonna have like good stuff again. We're gonna have stars cost 20 coins, and I'm just looking forward to it, man. It's gonna be so good. I'm getting it day one just as like a little bit of a, moral obligation, if you will, to say, hey, Nintendo, do this. Do this again. Keep going. Alright, so the Metroid Red announcement is fantastic. Just all around. Like, I'm not a Metroid fan. Like, I'm not into sci-fi, I'm not into shooters, and quite frankly, I'm not super good at navigating. So that's like almost all the aspects of Metroid, and quite frankly, I've never given a shot. I intend on giving it a shot, but right now I just haven't. But I am very, very happy for Metroid people to finally have their game back. It's such a cool reference. I didn't know Metroid Dread was like the DS prototype of a Metroid game until I researched it, because all these people were like, oh my gosh, Metroid Dread is finally a thing, and I'm like, finally, yes. Finally. But, I have an intellectual, I know how to use a search engine, so I searched that up, and yeah. Metroid Dread is cool. But, like, even, I could get hyped for games I'm not into. Like, very easily. Like, in high school, there was, like, it was Smash Ultimate, and we were getting the characters that weren't in the DLC, like, who was going to be in the base game. And a lot of people wanted Isabelle in the game. And yes, I agreed. Animal Crossing on the 3DS was such a huge hype thing that, like, yeah, it made sense to have Isabelle in the game. And even though I love Animal Crossing, I just don't like playing the games. They just don't appeal to me. Like, I'd rather have an action-filled adventure than, oh, I'm watering my flowers. But I was wanting Isabelle probably more than anyone, honestly, because I think Waluigi was deconfirmed at that point, but yeah, I wanted Isabelle in the game. And we got it, and I was super excited for it. And it's just like that with Metroid. Like, and even then, like, there's that, like, a bit of glimmer of hope. Like, the general fact that Metroid fans got Metroid Prime 4 announced, and they also got a message that, oh, well, we're working on Metroid 4, here's another Metroid game. Like, as a Pikmin fan, I'm just dying for it to happen. Pikmin 4 is almost done 4 years ago. What is going on? But yeah, Metroid Dread, super cool. I'm stoked. I'm probably not going to buy it day one because that's just not my kind of game. But I know there's going to be a lot of people that do, so I don't feel like I need to obligate myself to reinforce this behavior Nintendo is doing. Like some of the other ones. I'm not going to lie, I have Mario Tennis Aces, and I'm not a big fan of it. And I'm not expecting much more out of Mario Golf. I think a lot of it has to do with, like, in Mario Tennis Aces, I just wasn't a fan of, like, story mode and, like, the just kind of general mechanics. Like, I just kind of found myself just losing to the boss fights over and over again until I get the weird, like, oh, here's the chump charity power-up so you can instantly win. Like, I just got sick of it after a while. And you need to do that stuff to unlock, like, a bunch of the boards, because I don't want to play on, like, grass terrain, blue terrain, and rock terrain over and over again. Like, I want the weird stuff. So I'm not expecting much else from Mario Golf, but it looks good. It looks great. I'm sure I'm going to play it with friends, like, see if they have copies of it, and if not, that's probably when I would pick it up. And also, like, how they mentioned, yeah, we're going to have more characters and more boards after the game releases, which Mario Tennis Aces did a similar thing, where each month they would release a new character. And quite frankly, that's the fun stuff right there. Alright, WarioWare, get it together. Okay, so here's the thing about the WarioWare games for me. They just kind of make me uncomfortable to look at. Like, yeah, I know the fun gimmicks of, like, oh yeah, you're, like, picking this dude's nose as a minigame, and there's, some comedic charm to that, or the creativity of these games, which I do appreciate, but they're just not my thing. So, for the people out there I want a WarioWare game that isn't $100. Fantastic. I am very, very happy for them. Shin Megami Tensei 5. Oh, here we go. So, I'm a new convert to the JRPG genre. The short version is I didn't play them as a kid, and I got into them at an older age, so this genre is, like, new and elusive to me. And, I'm more into, like, the Square Enix side of things, like, Final Fantasy is cool, I guess, but the more recent, like, side projects that Square Enix has done, maybe not side projects, but, like, the Octopath Traveler is an example, or, like, the Bravely Default as opposed to, like, newer Final Fantasies, but, like, Final Fantasy VI is god tier. I love that game. I know there are other games that JRPG genre that are also really big, like, you have, like, Xenoblade, I haven't tried that out. You have, like, the Trials of Cold Steel games, and all this kind of other stuff, but, like, there's the Shin Megami games, which Persona is in that category as well. It started off as a Shin Megami sideline until it became its own separate thing, but I don't know why every, like, Shin Megami named oriented project just feels off to me in a way that I'm not comfortable with it. Like, maybe that's kind of the point of the games in general, but I'm not rushing to get into them. But much like Metroid Red, I am happy that these people finally have the game they've been waiting for. And I hope it's good. So the Danganronpa collection is coming to Switch, where it's going to include the first 3 games and a, like, party game spin-off, which I am a sucker for those kind of games, especially if they have boards in them. But yeah, I'm not a big anime guy. I just don't like watching TV and stuff. Like, I'm a very doing kind of guy, so, like, gaming, I'm engaging, my hands and, making decisions, and, or if I'm listening to music, I'm usually just kind of doing something, like, on the side as well, like drawing or editing or something like that. Or with YouTubers, I think I can more easily get away with just kind of, like, passively watching them, and if I miss some joke they make or some point, it's not a big deal. But if I'm, like, watching a TV show or an anime, I feel like you kind of just lose the point while you're doing the side activities, so I've got no interest in watching TV. But I don't know, the Danganronpa game looks like something I could try out and maybe someone be aware of that anime scene. Like Dragon Ball Z is kind of like a similar thing where it's like, I watched some of the episodes as a kid, but most of my knowledge comes from playing the Budokai Tenkaichi games. I played Battle for Z on the 360 and Xenoverse, so I basically know everything except for, the Super Series, which maybe is a crime that I don't know much about that. Mario Rabbids Spark of Hope. Okay. So this leaked a little bit before E3, then Nintendo just released the trailer. They were like, okay, yeah, nope, we're not gonna pretend that this is not a thing. It is just a thing. And I'm more than pleased. Like, I have Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and it's on the list for me to play, but I'll get to it. And there'll be a video on it. But as a kid, I played the Rayman 3. And for a lot of games when I was a kid, I don't quite remember specifics from them. Like, for some games, like, oh, I enjoyed, like, this mode or whatever, but, like, I can talk details about Rayman 3. And for other games as a kid, I had to be told that I played them. Like, I picked up Croc, The Legend of the Gobos on the PlayStation 1, and my brother had to tell me, oh yeah, we played that as a kid. I was like, really? Weird. But yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of tactical RPGs, like, I like Fire Emblem and Shining Force, so combined, Rabbids, Mario, and strategy RPGs, like, yeah, we have something that I'm interested in until I have a reason not to be interested in, if that makes sense. Like, my default without playing it is, I'm gonna like it. Advance Wars Reboot Camp. So I never played Advance Wars, but it's something that I added to my list of games I wanted to play at some point. And, well, it's gonna get easier. That's for sure. But yeah, I'm a fan of the look. Like, I hear a lot of criticism on the internet of, like, the little toy look. And quite frankly, I think for games that are a little more cartoony in nature, that's just kind of a better look than just a generic cell shader. And, like, just like the vector art just looks very just bright and fun. Like, generally things I'm not, like, super into, unless it's done right, which I think they have right in this case. So I'm looking forward to being able to play a classic. Alright, the Zelda Age of Calamity. So, we got some DLC released for us. We can play as a Guardian, which is a very neat concept. And we also have Link with, like, he's using, like, Guardian feet as, like, nunchuck grappling hooks. It looks very fun. I'm a fan of the Warriors games. Not like the, the unique franchise of Dynasty Warriors, but every game that was inspired by the developers or made directly from those developers of, franchises that I care about. I tried Dragon Quest Heroes out, and I had fun with that. And I have Hyrule Warriors on the Wii U. And yeah, I really, really liked it. Like, I just felt so good to just demolish hordes of enemies. Like, I kind of like games where I don't have to think very hard. I mean, I also like games where I think hard, but like, one or the other, I guess. Sometimes I just like to feel good just hacking and slashing. But yeah, this game is on a lower priority list, but I'm sure I'll get there eventually. Alright, Zelda Skyward Sword. We're getting like a little bit more final footage, mostly as just a kind of reminder, hey, we have this. And there's amiibo for it that you're not going to be able to afford because scalpers ruin everything. But yeah, the trailer's cool. I'm just not in a rush to play this game. It's not that I've never played it. Actually, this is probably the only 3D Zelda that I've never played. And one of two I've never beaten. I've never beaten Ocarina of Time. But I know how it ends, and I got like 60% of the way through the game, so I got the gist of it. But I don't know, Skyward Sword I'm not interested in it. I don't know why, but I'll get it at some point. I'll play it at some point, but it'll probably be after the Switch life cycle. Or when I have a reason to play it. That is more than just for fun. Alright, the Zelda Game & Watch. This is the only item we have for the Zelda's 35th anniversary, or anything to resemble a 35th anniversary. And like, it looks cool. Like, I have the Mario Game & Watch, and it's a nice knickknack. But like, Mario just got so much stuff that it's infuriating in comparison. Like, maybe it was a little bit too much to expect of Zelda Superstars. Like, what's their games that are going to get compiled into there? Like, that's more of a toss-up than, like, the 3D Mario games. Like, personally, I think Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, and Spirit Tracks would have been really cool. Especially giving those last two games a new control scheme. Where, like, people would realize, Spirit Tracks is awesome. And Phantom Hourglass is pretty good. But yeah, just a Game & Watch for the 35th anniversary. Like, that's it for the 35th anniversary? Like, even not just, like, digital stuff? Like, have you guys not gotten the Cadence of Hyrule people to do, like, anything for the 35th anniversary? Like, what if we could just play as Poopy Hand from Skyward Sword? That'd be cool. But whatever, I'll find other ways to waste my money. Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. For context, I originally did not plan on getting Zelda Breath of the Wild until I had a Switch. I only had a Wii U at the time, and I had like $60 saved for an NES Classic. And I eventually gave up trying to find an NES Classic, and I just kind of, after 1 month of just seeing thumbnails of Zelda Breath of the Wild from YouTubers that I loved, I was just like, I'm gonna cave in, I'm gonna get Breath of the Wild Wii U, and I'll eventually buy it on Switch again. I haven't bought it on Switch yet, but yeah, it's quickly become one of my favorite games. And so, the sequel. The sequel was announced with this Majora's Mask, like, eerie ambience to it. Like, that was what was in my head. And, that hype has, it stuck with me. This is what I'm expecting. And it was awesome to see footage. I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm sure I'm going to love it. But it's a weird thing to know what's going on. It just felt... It's not what I was expecting. And it's a weird thing to digest because, the more I kind of go over to, like, the Zelda... The more I go over to the Zelda analysis videos, I'm more at ease. But it was definitely not fitting my picture seeing Link jump out of the sky like some Fortnite match. And, like, Link also having a robot hand, like, that kind of gave me, like, weird, like, Adventure Time flashbacks. Because I stopped watching, like, sometime around the Fire Princess story arc, and seeing Finn with a robot hand was definitely, like, a weird thing to me. Just, like, not knowing what's going on. It kind of reminded me of that, where I'm like, I almost felt disconnected. And, yeah, it's a trailer. You're not supposed to be connected or in the know. But, like, I felt like I almost kind of fell off from that Zelda bit. Or, like, how everything is almost like a homage to Skyward Sword. Like, no, pay homages to, like, Twilight Princess and Majora's Mask. Come on, let's get a dark game. And, you know, like, there's cave sections, which, you know, less guy, more cave. And yes, there are cave sections. You know, where the bit where Link has his, like, fire, dragon hand. But yeah, I know I'm gonna buy this game, you know, the day it comes out. I'm gonna like it. It's just like a weird... I have a bit of whiplash from it, if that makes sense. And the other thing, too, is, like, So let's take, for instance, my buddy Kyle. He stayed up all night going over these Zelda videos and watching it again to see what he could pick up on, like, you know, different mechanics that are involved. Like, Link can clearly go through, like, rocks, for example. You know, he's, like, looking at all this other information, too, like, you know, what's up with Link's arm? You know, what's the Golem camp that the Bokoblins are on and stuff like that. Me, for the game that I'm most hyped for, you know, Super Mario Party AllStars, I just Googled, who are the playable characters in this game? Didn't find a direct answer. I saw Rosalina in one of the pictures and I assumed, okay, it'll be the Mario 64 cast and maybe like 2 other characters, including Rosalina. Okay, I'm fine, I'm good. So, maybe the trailer just isn't checking the right boxes for me. And that's fine. I'm still buying it day one. I'm still gonna love it. I'm getting a little bit of whiplash from it. Alright, so, for the not Nintendo things, these are the things I have stuff to say about. Elden Ring looks really cool. I never got into Dark Souls because I don't want to try that hard to get into a game series. Like, if it's like, oh, you're gonna die over and over and over again, I'm just gonna say, you know, I'll pass. But there are a lot of people that are really interested in Dark Souls. It's like the Metroid Red thing all over again. It's like, yes, they finally have, like, a really high-quality game from the developers that they love. Like, heck yeah. Then you have the Final Fantasy 2D remaster pieces, which, it boggles my mind. Because if they announced that exact same thing, but instead of saying only mobile and only Steam, I really think Square Enix could have turned E3 around. Like, maybe Nintendo would have outbeaten them, but it wouldn't have been so desperate that the people on the Twitters were like, Nintendo, please save E3. Like, they would have been like, you know, Square Enix did a fine job. I'm sure Nintendo will also do a fine job. Like, oh my gosh. Like, just make console physical releases. Listen to the people that are actually interested in, you know, these games. But I'm really interested in getting, like, you know, Final Fantasy VI redone. Like, it still bothers me that, like, Final Fantasy VI did not get, like, the Final Fantasy IV remake on the DS, where it was, like, the 3D art style and stuff like that. No. Final Fantasy VI got this RPG Maker-looking garbage. And it just... Why? They massacred my poor boy before I even knew it was my poor boy. And then Xbox. Xbox is doing way better than PlayStation. That's for sure. I don't think it's enough for me to switch to my, like... Nintendo's always going to be, like, my quote-unquote, like, main hand console. But, like, if I had, like, a sidearm or something like that, you know, it's PlayStation. Because, like, I think Sony has better exclusives. Like, I really like God of War and Little Big Planet. So I'm not going to be converting. The best Xbox has to offer is Psychonauts, which, you know, those games are coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. So they're really not exclusives, and they're not enough to convince me get an Xbox instead of a PlayStation. I'm not converting anytime soon. Like, yeah, PlayStation is going to be my preferred sidearm console. But that being said, I expected more. Just like, not even just as like an E3 thing, like, yeah, Sony pulled out of it, but like, just the handling of the PlayStation 5, the fact that they kind of like had to recall it, and they're like, oh yeah, you're not getting this until like 2022. It's ridiculous. So, to leave things on a more positive note, I think E3 was well, in the areas that I care about. You know, Nintendo rocked it. They gave me basically everything that I wanted except for Kirby. You know, I got a new Mario Party, I got, Breath of the Wild 2 stuff, regardless of how I reacted to it, I'm still really happy we have it. And Nintendo is reviving a dormant IP with, Metroid Red. I'm really looking forward to gaming for the future. Like, yeah, the rest of 2021 looks pretty good. And, like, even just, like, I'm really excited for 2022. Like, Pokemon, Arceus, Project Triangle Strategies, which I hope to God it gets a way better name, please. Breath of the Wild 2, even though I hardly believe it's going to be 2023 because they're going to find some way to push it back. And they should if it needs to. And Mario Rabbids Spark of Hope. And then, as far as 2021 goes, like, yeah, I'm getting Advance Wars 3 Boot Camp. I'm getting Mario Party Superstars. As far as I'm concerned, things are great. Anyway, if you like this video, please leave like, comment, and or subscribe. I'm giving you options here, people. Also, check out my buddy Kyle. He plays the shooters every now and again, so if you want more relevant stuff than what I have, give him a watch. And, yeah, stay tuned for future stuff I'm doing. Take care now.